Couple of things I'm working on now. One of them is this demo that I did in London. It actually happened to be at EMI at Abbey Road, and it's a band called The Black Hand. And I recorded that earlier this year, and they were kind enough to let me use the track for this demo. How do I record, you might ask? And I might answer, analog. Now, that may seem strange, but true, because I am an analog old twit, and you know, I like to keep one foot firmly there and the other foot firmly in the digital cam. And I found that there's a way to combine the best of both worlds. So this was track 24, 15 IPS, Dolby SR, and why 15? Anybody? Because of what? The low end. But what is the low end doing? It has a beautiful theme called the bump. There's this beautiful bump at 15 that you do not get anywhere else, right? And what happens? You get this big fat sound from the drums, from the bass drum. It is not a kick. A kick is something we do whoop, like that, right? It's a bass drum, innit? As you can see on the screen, if you'd be so kind as to do a little, oh look, it's a bass drum. By the way, I love this. I love this feature. You can zoom in and out and look at all these. There's snare. There's a picture of a hi-hat, and you can't go wrong. You know, that's your toms, the overheads. Look, the microphones. I think it's very smart. For stupid people like me, it's great. Now, once I've done that, and I've got my sound on analog tape, then I'm going to transfer it into Logic, right? That now gives me the flexibility of doing overdubs and doing the mixes. And with Waves plugins, we're rocking now, because the world is our oyster, because look at what we got. Well, you'll see it in a minute. So, a couple of other little bits and pieces, just to tell you. We mentioned Woodstock. There we are now, well, I think it's going to happen in about a month. We're actually going to restore Woodstock. We found 10 hours of unreleased material, which is really cool, including Creedence Clearwater, the band Grateful Dead, extra tracks of Janis, Santana. Can you imagine? We've had to cull that down, actually. It's probably not going to be as long as the 10 hours, but it's certainly going to be a lot of stuff that has never either seen the light of day or ever been heard, which is phenomenal. So that's been done in 7.1, because Warner says it's a Bluetooth, Blu-ray? Oh no, one of those blue things. So that's going to be fun. And we'll be using a bunch of plugins too. And what else? Oh yeah, that's going to be 40th anniversary release next year. Also a Hendrix project, which has been in the works for a while. I've mixed it in 5.1, and that's hopefully going to be released next year. But I can't tell you any more about it, because I'd have to just shoot myself, and that, you wouldn't like that. Be a bit messy. So I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm going to say, let's get down to business with the team over here, and let's just see what I did to this track in London. Now, we said bass drum. If you imagine that you're at EMI Abbey Road, right, and you open this closet, like this one over here, it's about the size of that, and you open the door and it's like, oh man, it's like God speaking to you. There's every microphone you could ever want, and then some. So, if you're going to pick a bass drum mic, which mic would you pick?
D112.
Wait, one at a time. What?
D112.
Maybe.
45.
Who said what? You said? Who paid you? I need $5 from you.
He's with my crew.
Oh, that's why. Okay. A FET 47. Why a FET 47? Anybody? Anybody in the audience? Why a FET 47? Come on, engineers. What does a FET 47 do? What? Because what?
It sounds good.
It sounds good, but it does something. It is a great low-end mic. It's probably one of the greatest mics Neumann ever made for the low. If you look on sessions, you'll see it on the double bass, you'll see it on the cello. Hello?
Hi, Mom. I'm doing a session, Mom.
Yeah, cell phones off, please.
That's great. Nice. All right, that's one mic. Give me another microphone for the bass drum. Anybody? Mezzo, not so great.
421?
What?
421?
Not really. Yeah, maybe. What I'm looking for is a microphone I'm looking for 3 different mics. We now have a 47 FET, which is a great big fat thing, right? Now we're looking for something with a lot of punch in the mid-range. What do we got? I'm looking for another mic that's specifically designed for the bass drum. Not the AKG, but the Shure Beta 52. Thank you. And something else. One thing, we're missing one element. Nope. It's an SM91. What is that? Anybody know? Yes, it's a boundary mic. And you stick that inside the bass drum and you get a nice wallop from it. So if you combine those 3, you get something that sounds more or less like this. You can crank with it. Oh, a bit more. Yeah, that's better. Right. Now, the thing is, I make a commitment to combining those 3 microphones onto one track immediately. You can break it out if you want to. If you're recording directly into Logic or whatever you're doing, break it out. But I find that the more you break things out, you're delaying the inevitable. You're delaying the fact that you have to make a decision at some point how to combine those. I make the decision when I hear it, that's the sound I want. But that's me, because I'm an old fart, and that's what I like. So, let's try to do a little bit of EQ on this. I'll step out of the way. There you are. Let's try a little bit of the SSL, and let's see what we're going to do. Let's punch that in and see what we got. Oh, yeah. All right. So, immediately you can hear what it's done, right? It's tightened it up. And I've done a couple of things in the low end. I've removed a little bit of 300, right? Thank you. That was very cool. I like that. By removing that, I've also boosted the 3K, and I'm also boosting it about just a little over 5. It's almost 6. That's about it. Is supposed to be 5K anyway. And let's see what else we got. That's it. Okay, let's go back down. And then also down here, I'm raising the low end because I've scooped out the 300. The SSL plugin is just a marvelous thing, and also there's a gate on it as well. So right off the bat, if you play it again without the EQ, please. Nice bass drum, but when you put the EQ in, now it's got snap. Okay, and don't forget, we have to think ahead of the curve. We have to think, how is that bass drum going to fit in with the rest of the mix? And it's going to be competing against a lot of stuff. Okay, let's go to the snare. Now the snare, choice of mics. Anybody? What?
57.
Correct. That is your gold standard 57. It's a great mic, and particularly for rock and roll, you can't really go wrong. However, there are some choices. There's a thing called a 56, which is also a Shure mic, and it's basically a 57 that somebody cut off with a hacksaw, cut it off at the knees, and put a little angle bracket on it, so you can go from underneath the snare with a small stand and just come right over the top. It sounds slightly different than a 57. It's slightly smoother, actually, and I happen to like it very much.